everyone, and welcome back to the Hindley Hall Herald podcast. We're now on episode 3. So once again, thanks to everybody that's watched the first 2 episodes, topping up around 500 views per episode, which is fantastic. So thanks to everybody for the support, and we'll do our usual introductions. So we've got Andy, our course manager and co-host. Evening. And we've got Stu Grant, who's head of golf here at Hindley Hall and works on the course as well with Andy. So Stu, welcome.
Good evening.
So we're mixing it up today a little bit. We're not just going to focus on the golf course. We're going to start off there with Andy and his monthly facts and figures because he is the king of data. And then we're going to bring Stu in to talk a little bit more about some of the work that's been going on over the winter that's coming to a conclusion as we head towards the season. And then start to talk a little bit about our competition calendar here for the men at Hindley Hall. So without further ado, let's bring in Andy and all his facts and figures.
Right. So it's been a dry month. Makes a change really for February for a few years, I would say. But let's do some comparison with with this year and last year. So rainfall this year 24 millimeters, and we've had that over 5 days. Bearing in mind today is only the 24th of February, so we've still 4 days left of the month. But 1st to the 24th, 24 mil over 5 days, and last year 162 mil over 15 days.
Ouch.
Which then probably leads us nicely into the staging. So for those who aren't a member here and don't know, we stage the golf course on a 1 to 6 basis. 1 being all systems go, 6 being closed, and then there's a range of different restrictions or holes allowed to play in between that. So if we move on to staging for this month, we've had 22 days in February of 2025 at stage 3 or better, compared to 5 days at 3 or better in 2024, which also leads me on to closure, of course, being stage 6. This year we have had 0 days at stage 6 in February, but in February of 2024, as a comparison, we had 10 days. So we're certainly drier.
Yeah.
And that's pretty obvious, as I've said in the previous podcasts. Temperature-wise, we had a high in 2024 of 13.8, and this year we've had a high so far of 15.1.
Wow.
But likewise, a low, they both are the same. We've had minus 1.1 as our low temperature for February. And then evapotranspiration, so the amount of moisture we lose out the ground. In 2024, we had 18.2 millimeters of rain, of evapotranspiration. And this year we've had 13 millimeters of rain. So I think that, I've not got the facts in front of me, but I think that shows really that, except for the past couple of days, we've had a relatively cold February. Even though it's not been freezing and below 0, it's been a relatively cold February, which is highlighted with just over a 5 millimeter difference in evapotranspiration.
It's pretty windy though as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of winds. I know we've felt playing every weekend.
It's been good for winter golf, hasn't it?
Yeah. February has. February has. It's been very good for winter golf. So hopefully, forecast for this week is decent, really, except for Wednesday. It's a bit dodgy, but then, you know, we're fast approaching the season and we're just shy of 2 weeks away from captain's driving, and the weather looks very good on the long range forecast, except for Wednesday. So hopefully, once we get through Wednesday, it won't treat us too harshly, and we'll be in a good place to start prepping and presenting the course and tidying up the local jobs and everything else. And tomorrow looks set to be a decent day as well. So we've got plenty on the horizon.
Well, that's good. I think from a member's point of view, I play at the moment really just on a Saturday, but it's been so noticeable, the definition on the course compared to this time last year.
Yeah.
I know I don't want to go back there, but you were hand mowing the course, let alone greens, at some points before captain's driving.
Twice last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of effort that must take.
Up till April, wasn't it? Really, the
Yeah.
looks of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd already done a full course handball sort of this time last year, and we did it again probably the back end of March, maybe in another 3 weeks time. 4 weeks
your
time.
idea was to do it once, wasn't it? Really, a one-off, and it didn't get any better.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
No,
it really only improved from sort of June, I would say.
So, I think we're miles better. We are.
Yeah, we're definitely in a better position now, and coming up to captain's driving, and then we're going to be starting our whole competition calendar from April onwards. But just touching on some of the things that winter's allowed us to do this year, because it's been a relatively kind winter to us, as we're kind of alluding to there with the stats and the figures you talked about. But that's allowed us to do a little bit more work on the course, certainly than what we were able to do last winter.
Yes.
So, one of the biggest things that we're seeing out on the golf course are the new ditches, or temporary ditches, permanent ditches, whatever we're going to decide they're going to be. But we certainly see those out on the golf course. So I just thought I'd bring both of you in on that, because you've both been instrumental in deciding where they go, what we might do with them, and just your general thoughts.
Just from my point of view, all the time I've been involved in this, drainage is a massive problem on a parkland course, and it seems that we're getting more and more wet weather. People want to play golf more and more in the winter, so the two things go together, and we've got to try and do something to alleviate some of the problems. Now, there were 2 or 3 areas last year that we looked at that we didn't think dried out at all. No. Down the 12th, down the 3rd, down the 18th, and even in the middle of summer, they were still wet, weren't they? You couldn't cut them. So we took a bit of advice, didn't we, from a guy from Old Links.
Yes.
He came out and had a look, and he suggested we've sort of done what we've done. Only time will tell whether they work or not. That we can't be sure about that. If anybody looks at the sections of what they've dug, you'll find we've got 100 mil of topsoil and then clay forevermore. We know from records there's sort of 10 to 30 metres of clay below that here, so that's part of our problem really. We're floating on a layer of clay. Whether when the soil dries out in the summer, any more rain we get will then wash into the ditch and not congregate. That's what will be happening to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But only time will tell. So I think I'm not talking out of turn here when I say that we sort of intend to leave the ditches in for this year, make them into red penalty areas. Maybe the one on the 18th, we might have to at least shallow, because it's very, very deep in it. So we're not quite sure what we're going to do with that yet. But they had to go down very deep to pick up some drains that come in, which is the right thing to do. But we can't really have a metre deep ditch on the golf course, because somebody falls in there. It's quite dangerous, obviously. So we've got a few ideas.
We've got a few ideas. We just need to get some costings together, really, and sort of look at what can we do that isn't overly costly as a temporary solution for this summer to see how it performs, and then do we go back and rejig it? Do we have to put a large pipe in and stone and tuff it? That's more specific to the 18th than the other areas. But we don't want to throw a load of money at this ditch, especially the 18th, and then it not work, or we have to go back and redo some other bits to it and what have you. So it's kind of a bit of a suck and see, really. With the 18th.
I think it's fair to say that doing nothing wasn't an option.
No, it wasn't.
Had to do something to give it a trial and see how we get on.
100%. And I think it's fair to say that if you look at them, they do need finishing off. But they took the chance in November time when it was dry to go and do the major digging, which is the problem, because you could drive the machine across the course and it makes a mess. So when it was quite dry, you did the main digging. They look a bit untidy at the moment, but they're not a million miles off.
No.
Particularly on 12, which looks really good, I think, as it is now. But there will be a red penalty area for this year, I think. Number 18, we've still got to decide, haven't we, really?
We've got a few bits and pieces to look at there.
Just one thing that some people have mentioned about things like course rating and that kind of thing, they won't make a difference to any course rating for a golf club, because they're not in landing zones, and that's how course rating works. Whether you like it, whether you don't, that's how it works. So they will come into play, but they won't make the course any harder as regards course rating. That's just the way the system works.
Okay. That's good to know.
So like Stu said, we were sucking and see on the 18th. I think the head wall that we've put in on the 12th, where the ditch exits, is a nice feature. So I'm hopeful that we can do that with the other ditches around the golf course to finish them off. And then obviously there's the tidying up, a bit of seeding and top dressing and tuffing around them to finish off, which, you know, probably starting next week. That'll start with a few bits of work to do this week, and obviously the weather on Wednesday will play a big factor on what bits and pieces we can do Thursday and Friday, whether we get a lot of rain or only a little bit. Fingers crossed it's only a little bit. But sort of jumping back, I think as well, many people who have played will have noticed that there was some work carried out on the greens and surrounds, which went really, really well. Probably one of the best ones I've been a part of here. It went fantastically. The weather was great. It played ball, but as always, there is a but, and unfortunately the top dresser broke, so we only managed to top dress the front 11 greens. The repairs happening next Tuesday or Wednesday, so imminently after that we'll be doing another round of tining on greens and dressing to get the rest of the dressing in that I wanted to get in. More so on the back 7 holes that haven't been dressed at all, but we'll probably do a full round of tining and dressing, and just add a little bit more dressing to the back 7 holes to sort of even out the amount that we've already put out and match it with what we're going to put out. But touching on that, which is something that annoys me a lot, and I think if other course managers and Greens chairman, secretaries, whatever are watching this, they'll probably agree with me that the price of spare parts is absolutely ridiculous. The top dresser broke, and I'll not name manufacturers or anything, but I phoned for a quote on the parts that were needed, and it was like high-end 4 figures. I've gone to somewhere else, and we're low-end 3 figures for the same part.
Wow.
There's a perception in there that golf clubs are full of money by some people. Oh, well, it's a golf club, so we'll charge them whatever. In actual fact, nothing bigger than the truth, could it?
Yeah, it just drives me absolutely insane. You know, a great example, and hopefully it can be linked in the description because he definitely deserves a shout out, is Regan from Plant and Machinery Spurs, which is based up in Leyland. The tractor needed an alternator. Phoned the dealer for a price. The alternator price came back at near enough £800 plus the VAT. So we're into £1,000 for an alternator. Regan supplied that and other spurs at just over £200, and it's the exact same alternator, just like, a different label on it.
Like you say,
a different manufacturer's label, but the output, everything is exactly the same specification.
Can't believe
if I handed them you with no labels on, you wouldn't know the difference.
I think this is one of the challenges it is when setting budgets at golf clubs is
Yeah.
how do you legislate for these things going wrong when it could be, like you say, top end of 4 figures.
Yeah.
When that wasn't budgeted for.
No.
But you can't do without a top dresser.
No.
Well, that's it. I mean, they have machines that get used every day, and if they break down, you can't say, well, I'll come a week or Tuesday. We'll do this afternoon or tomorrow morning, don't you? So that's why you pay a premium rate. I understand that as well.
Yeah, it is.
Like you say, it just, you can't budget for that. You can't. If the green machine breaks on a Saturday morning, you can't say, well, wait until next Friday, can we?
Yeah.
Good reason like that.
No.
Yeah, so we do carry quite a lot of spurs or regular parts that we know.
Usual consumables or parts that you know are going to.
Belts and tyres, and, bits and pieces like that there's a good chance it might go during the season, so you can bot back, and it's 10, 20 minutes, half an hour of a fix, and you're back out and you're going. But something like the top dresser that we use 6-7 times a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd like to use it more, but 6-7 times a year for greens, we struggle to carry spurs on that because of the amount it's used, basically. And it's 12, 13 years old, maybe. still in very good condition for the age of it, and you know, it's been well looked after. It's just a shame that the belt snapped on it, and the plate underneath was ruined in that process. So that's where the IM 4 figures come from. But we've sourced it elsewhere, but that source elsewhere takes a little bit more.
I think that's
time,
a really good insight into the challenges of getting that green stuff outside us into a condition that we all think is good. It's a never-ending money pit, and interesting to see how much things cost on a day-to-day basis as well.
Yeah. So we've got a new piece of software. I think I touched on that last time. So in the next couple of months, I'll share some figures with you on what it's actually cost to do certain things. I know it's eye-opening when you look at it, when you narrow it down and look at what it's cost to just do one job on a golf course on a particular day, or let's say it's raking bunkers for 6 days out of the 7 in the week. It soon mounts up, that money.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes money mounts up and you've not got a great deal to show for it.
And sometimes you've got to balance the jobs to do based on how impactful it might be and how expensive it might be.
Yeah.
So some of the least expensive jobs relatively could have more impact to what we see on a day-to-day than some of the. I mean, spending 4 figures on a belt for a top dresser, we wouldn't see.
You don't see it, do you?
We don't see that.
No.
But the fact that the first tee's been levelled off, and we haven't got a hump to stand on come start the season, hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see. Things like that.
I've put the spirit level on.
Keep checking
there's no hump. There's no
keep
hump
checking
it yet.
Not till we get on it. It might be after 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see. But things like that just have a bigger impact, and we can physically see it, can't we? So
you know, the levelling of the
really
first tee.
interesting.
Levelling of the first tee cost with turf, excluding labour, in and around 500 quid.
Yeah.
Everybody sees that, like you said. The top dresser could have potentially cost high-end 4 figures.
Yeah.
No one sees that.
Nobody sees it.
No one sees that. They don't.
No.
Nobody sees it.
No.
They just see that machine going that way.
Yeah.
And then it gets loaded with sand and it goes that way. And then it gets loaded and goes wherever. Nobody sees what's going on inside there.
Definitely not, no.
So,
I think just going back to the ditches situation, obviously if they do turn out to be a success, we'll look at doing some more, won't we?
Yeah.
Because we've got a machine now that can dig them. It doesn't take that long, to be fair, does it?
No.
I think they're reasonably good at what they produce, quite a nice profile, that kind of thing. So if they are a success, then we will look at doing more, won't we?
I think so.
You know, we'll listen to what people have said, and you know, I think, like you said, Darren, we have to do something. We have to be seen to be doing something to try and improve drainage. As I said, starting off, I think we looked at number 12 or number 3 last year in August, and they hadn't dried out.
No.
So we can't carry on like that forever.
But I think the good thing about the ditches as well is because, you know, there's a myriad of drains across the golf course, what we know about and we don't know about. You know, the good thing with putting a ditch in, I'll pick 12 as the example. It's down the left-hand side from, about 130 yards to
past the bell
to 30 yards from the green, something like that on the left-hand side. I don't see it being as massively in play. But the right-hand side of 12 is now getting a little bit wet in and around the tree in the middle of the fairway to the right of that.
Glad you mentioned that.
Well, now we've got somewhere to drain it to.
Yeah.
We're not thinking we're going to have to put a drain in for the best part of 250 metres.
Yeah.
We've got scope to put that 30 metres across a fairway.
Yeah.
And, you know, scope then to drain other areas of that 12th if need be.
Certainly
likewise on the 3rd or the 18th, we've got somewhere that we can put it to now that we know where it goes and we can keep it clear because we know what it does and where it is. So
certainly that area on 12 to the right of the tree. I think every weekend somebody mentions it quite rightly as well, that it's an area that just seems to be a real problem for us. So it's good to know that what we're doing now can help potentially alleviate that, and we're doing the right thing by making a start. Yeah.
Well, we've got the big area in the trees, which is like a swamp, and we sort of believe that a tree's been taken out, don't we?
It looks that way.
Because
is that the round pit?
Yeah.
I think that's what we're talking about.
I mean, we sort of believe that a tree's been taken out there. So if you remember what I said about the section through the ditch, we've got 4 inch of topsoil, and then that's all clay. If a tree's been taken out there, then obviously the hole will be backfilled by soil and that kind of thing. So you've effectively got a hole that can fill with water, and it's got nowhere to go.
It's just lined with clay.
If you look at it where it is there, it's just lined with clay.
Yeah.
There's no tree there. Well, there's trees everywhere down the 12th.
Yeah.
So we think that a dead tree's been taken out there.
It's a perfect.
Yeah, we looked at it last
when-
summer, didn't we? Yeah, we did look at that.
We don't really know, but it would make sense. And so
Strange.
they've made a hole, taken the tree out. When they've backfilled it, it's not clear like it is there. So you've got a hole in the ground that can fill with water. So we don't know that for sure. We think that's what's happened. Don't we?
It's our best guess at the moment.
It is.
Until we go and go and inspect. But like I said, the ditch, the 12th's the prime example that we can use. Really, that we've got somewhere to put drains to now, rather than thinking we've got 250 metres of drainage to put in here. You know, down this section, and then laterals running off or whatever. We've got a large open ditch that can take a large volume of water, and it's got plenty of scope for other areas to be drained into.
Well, I think it's good. What you know, the work that we've done this winter, that you and the guys have worked. I've seen so many pictures of one of the Toms down a ditch, up to his neck in it.
Best place for him. Best place for him.
We'll have to get him on one week.
He doesn't talk. If he's in a ditch, he doesn't talk.
Oh, so, fair enough. Yeah, so we'll have to get him on then if he's a talker.
It's good.
What is a talk?
Right, good stuff. Yeah. It's definitely noticeable what the guys and you've been doing out on the course this winter. So hopefully everything we'll see start to improve and dry up a little bit as we start getting towards April and the start of our competition season.
Fingers crossed, yeah. You know, I hinted at captain's driving in 2 weeks, so with the weather, you know, we can get some more cutting done hopefully. Next week, maybe a round of solid tanning and dressing, and we'll take it from there. And you know, realistically, we'd like everything tied off, done and dusted for Stuart will know the day, but I think it's the 6th of April.
8th.
First comp.
Yeah.
Oh, the competition, right? Captain's driving's on the 8th of March.
Yeah.
6th of April is the first competition, which will be hopefully handicap qualifying and things like that. So we need the course to be playable in that respect for them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that brings us on to competitions.
It does, yeah.
And the competition season.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Masters on the way at the beginning of April, and we've got competition season coming up.
The greenkeepers worst time of the year, the Masters. Everyone's watching the Masters on TV, and how come there's not like that?
Running at 15 for the first comp of the year, yeah? Green, stint meter?
Yeah.
Same as Augusta?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
But we've got all these boards behind us, if you can see them on the camera there. We've got some of the board comps that we play for at Hindley Hall here. So just want to ask Stuart a little bit about any highlights that we've got coming up this year, anything that's happening in our calendar, and things that we can get looking forward to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, really, Hindley Hall, as far as I know, has more competitions than any club around here, because very, very few clubs have a competition Saturday and Sunday through the summer. We have one Saturday, Sunday and Wednesday. So, you know, that's a lot of competition golf. It seems to be what members like, because at weekend, if there's no competition, there's less people playing. That's just, you can look at the numbers. When we on a Sunday, if we have no competition, there's less people play than there's a competition. So it seems to be what they like. So that's why we have what we have. And we have a lot of historical things that tie into Salter Trophy qualifying, Hewlett Cup qualifying. So they take up quite a bit. And also, we've now got the situation where our players qualified to play in the Victory Trophy and the Senior Victory Trophy, and that needs to be medal because of the Victory Trophy constitution. So we need to have things for that as well. So there's a lot of things through the year that are almost, not say fixed, but they've got to have them.
Yeah,
and that's just what it is. But people do seem to like it, really. So
it's a very competitive club, isn't it? We do like our competitions.
Yeah.
There is a good mix.
Yeah. I don't think they're not fixed in the diary either. They're just fixed that we need to have. We need to have them throughout the year.
Need to have them throughout the year. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean the Victory Trophy and the Senior Victory Trophy are fixed in the year, and so we have things that need to lead up to that.
Yeah.
But as regards our club competition, they're not really fixed. The Hewlett Cup tends to be played in June because it always has been. The Scratch Cup in July, because it always has been. But there's no reason why they couldn't change. But that's just the way it is, really. So it's always been set up like that. I mean, one thing about Hindley is that we have a small number of board competitions.
Yeah.
You go to some clubs and they've got a room full of boards. We only had four board competitions really that you can win in singles golf, which was the Salter, the Hewlett, the Clegg, and the Centenary Cup. For all of those competitions, you have to play well at least twice, which I think sets them apart from a normal competition, because the golfer has got to have a good score and then followed up by another good score. The Scratch Cup is slightly different because you've got to do the same thing in that, but obviously only a small number of people are really competing in the Scratch Cup.
Yeah,
that's just the way that is.
The makeup of most golf clubs. That
it is, yeah. It's your elite golfers, and at this moment in time, we haven't got that many of those, unfortunately. But we've still got enough to make it a competitive field.
Yeah.
But that's historically been our big competition, because we had John Dickinson win it 26 times or something like that, which is an incredible record. Nick Gibbs 8 times, which is not bad. So that's also a very big competition, but unfortunately that doesn't affect most members of the club. That's just the way it is, isn't it, really?
Should celebrate the winner of the Scratch. It's like our best.
100%.
And you've kind of made a change to a small change to that event.
It's been suggested that in the other competitions, particularly the Hewlett, we've changed it now so that the leaders go out in leaderboard order on the second day. So when they're playing the 18th, the leaders, there's a bit of pressure on them, if you like. The captain's waiting to present the trophy. So we're going to do the same thing with the Scratch Cup this year. So on the Saturday they'll play, and then on Sunday we'll put the field out in leaderboard order. The same thing will happen. So 3 people playing last hole might be all in contention. They'll know where they are. The captain will be waiting to present the trophy, work out the results, and they'll pick it up there and then. So if we get a nice day on the 27th of July, you might get a few people watching on the 18th, hopefully. So with that, since I've been doing this, I've tried to make the board competitions more of an event. I mean, when I first joined here, if you're playing the Hewlett Cup, you could play with your mate at 8 o'clock in the morning, or somebody else could play with their mate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, that didn't seem to be fair to me. If it's a major competition, you should be playing with people who's in the major competition, and not just with your best mate who you're not going to play with. So now the people in the competitions, in the board comps, go out in a block and they play with somebody else who's in that competition. It gives them a chance to play with different people for a start off, but also they're all in the same competition. And I think that just makes it better. That was my opinion, and it seems to have gone down quite well. And the Hewlett Cup, I know quite a few people who've won it on the last hole by making a pair while their opponent made a 5 or whatever, and they thought that's been great, you know.
Anybody makes a par on that last hole, it's well-deserved win.
Yeah. But you know, if you're playing last hole and it's us 3 in the Hewlett Cup, and he's one in front of us, and you know, there's a bit of pressure on it, which you'd like to have, wouldn't you, for a major competition, you know. So I since I've been doing the golf sector, I've tried to do that and tried to bring them like that. And I know, like, it was Darren's idea as a Scratch Cup, but we'll do the same thing with Scratch Cup and try and make an event of the competition. So there you go.
Very good. I think if anybody's not familiar with some of these events that Stu's talking about, the golf club's been around in one form or another since 1905, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a very old golf club celebrating the centenary in 2005. And if you go onto the members section of the website, if you're a member of the golf club, there is quite a lot of information on there about each of the competitions that we're talking about, where they started from, and the names that are associated. And if anybody, wherever it is gone, is at the golf club, I picked this up. It's the centenary brochure that's got loads of information about Hindley on here, all the history going back to where it was bought from, and all these names that are on these board and who they are. So if you do get a chance to pick one of these up, it's well worth the read. But certainly check the website out. There's a lot of information on there for members, and it's a great thing to be part of all this history that's been going on here at Hindley.
It is. I mean, for me personally, I think that the Hewlett Cup is the most prestigious cup you can win here, because it's a 3-rounder to some extent, and that's the oldest one that's been played for since 1905. And Mr. Hewlett was the chief mine engineer for Wigan Coal Iron Company, and that company founded this golf club. So that's where that name comes from. That's the history behind that. So it's been played for a long, long time. Just a little thing for you. there's a couple of instances in the Scratch Cup actually, because the Scratch Cup, it was the Scratch Cup, wasn't it? Can't
Yeah, it's right above us there.
Right, so if I look up here now, where I can see where I'm working, it was won LB Todd in 1920.
Yeah.
And LB Todd is Mr. Lance Todd of Rugby League fame.
Oh, okay.
His name went with the player of the match in the Challenge Cup trophy, isn't it? Lance Todd.
Yeah, I think.
So he was a New Zealander, came over here to play rugby league, he played golf here, and I think he also played at other clubs around here as well at the time. But he shot 172, which doesn't sound very good, but he probably didn't have Tartless Pro V1s and graphite shafted clubs.
Your gutter perky golf ball and some branded irons.
Yeah. And in contrast to that, in some respects, John Dickinson shot 128, shot 64, which is some
incredible,
isn't it? So, we're trying to bring the Scratch Cup into more focus for more members. I think that's the right thing to do.
Just make an event of it. Absolutely. You mentioned a name there. We'll finish off the competition section very shortly. But you mentioned the name there, John Dickinson. His son is familiar to everybody in our golf shop.
He is.
Just around the corner there. And John is without doubt not only a legend of Hindley, but also of Lancashire golf. He's been an incredible name representing this golf club for a significant amount of his career.
Well, I think he's got the record number of Lancashire appearances. I think it's 176, which is some going. He was a selector for England, and I think that he hit the first tee shot on Hay Hall.
Wow!
When it was open. I'm pretty sure he played in the first 4 ball, but he might have hit the first tee shot at Hay Hall. But young John will probably correct me on that. But he certainly played at Hay Hall when it opened in 1972 or 3, something like that. So obviously a great honour for him, that.
Fantastic. Is there anything else in our competition schedule? Any
not
Lancashire
really.
events coming up? We've
got the Ladies District Championship,
right,
which is in June, which is the Ladies Victory Trophy. That's on Saturday in June. And we've got a Lancashire match, Lancashire boys against Yorkshire boys in July. So looking forward to that. That should be a nice event. Should be good golf being played, I imagine, there.
I'm sure there will be. And just bringing this back to the course, I'm chucking this at you now. We've not even talked about it. Love this. When we're hosting these events that are Lancashire based and whatever, what is there something different that goes into the preparation for that? When we're hosting an event that's got Lancashire involved with it, do they come down or?
No, not really. They come down and we held 2 Lancashire ladies events last year.
Yeah. Very good they were as well.
So I don't quite know how they work, because the Lancashire ladies and the men used to be separate, and now
it's all
incorporated now, aren't they? They're all.
They come down with like a request sheet,
a checklist sort of thing.
They leave it up to you, don't they?
Yeah,
really?
there were no we want difficult pins, what our pins are, we're picking the pins or anything.
Well, it's a good job, because there's no such thing as an easy pin.
No.
There's no such thing.
No,
I mean, don't forget, these are experienced organisers anyway, so they've got a good idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But they did leave it up to us, didn't they, really?
Yeah.
They didn't stick their nose or anything like that,
No, there was nothing untoward that they wanted or, requested, really. It was just thank you for the course type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think the course looked great last year when we had the ladies, the girls down.
So
good stuff. Well, I think we'll start to wrap it up there for episode 3. We're going to be back next month. We'll have just had captain's driving, I think, by the time episode 4 comes out. And our incoming men's captain, Aidan, has said he'd be very happy to jump on the podcast. So we're going to bring Aidan on next month, and you can meet our new men's captain of Hindley Hall Golf Club, and get his backstory and how his first drive of the year went in on captain's driving.
Pond.
Is that what we're going for? Do we still do the thing where you can go out and put a little peg down?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Pond, or we've had one in the driving net in the car park.
Yeah.
I think we've had one in the overflow car park, which is, for those who don't know, it's before where we're sat now, and it's a sharp duck hook to get it in there. We've had it down the road. So no, it's fun and games. So we'll see where it ends up. But I'm going pond before the island, my bet.
Well,
All right, okay.
He's quite steady here.
I've
I
not
think
played
he'll
with
be
Aidan
all right.
before, so I'm not sure what to expect.
He's quite steady here, and I think he'll be all right.
Might have to get a game with him first so I can know where to put my peg. Where my £2 going, or pound, wherever it is that we paid for.
I think he'll do fine. He's quite steady.
I'm sure he will. So that's it for episode 3 of the podcast. And we'd like to invite any of our members, visitors, guests, or fans of the podcast to submit a question. If you've got anything you want us to talk about, or a burning question you've got about the golf course or golf life here at Hindley, and drop a comment drop a question in the comments or a message to the golf club, and we'll add it into our schedule. But
fire away.
Yeah, but for today, thank you again, Andy, for joining us, and Stu. Best of luck running all these competitions this year. You might need another couple of inches by the time we get to April. And that's it for this episode. Thanks very much, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.